What is going on, everybody? This is S Trades, and today I made $2,000 on two accounts, and I just want to kind of go over it and just do a trade breakdown. Right, today's April 30th, and yeah. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So we were making this low resistance liquidity, right? All of these lows, right? We kept coming lower, respecting and coming up higher, right? Respecting these bullish PD right? And at some point, I was expecting for price to retrace lower to either this daily and then this 4-hour fair value gap, right? So looking at today pre-market, right, we ended up opening higher, right, coming into this 1-hour fair value gap that was over here. Yeah, this was a 1-hour fair value gap over here. It got respected, and then we ended up dumping 500 points right down. So then we also disrespected these two 1-hour fair value gaps, right? They both got inverse. So I was like, okay, I am temporarily bearish on the lower time frame, and I'm bullish on the higher time frame. The reason being is because we ended up coming into this daily fair value gap, right? And then we ended up sweeping all of these three lows, right? We also had an SMT with ES at this moment, right? So I was looking for more of a bullish play later on towards the day, and but temporarily being at market open, I was bearish, and I wanted to see some bearish plays get put in, right? Looking at market open, right? We open up a little higher, right? And then we just kind of end up dumping, right? Tapping into this daily fair value gap, right? So I was actually looking now towards longs, right? But we got presented with a quick short setup, which I was willing to take because it was really A plus for me. So what happened here, we created this 5-minute fair value gap, right? We inversed this 5-minute over here with this candle, right? And coming lower, right? And then once we retrace back to this 5-minute, right, I was looking at the lower time frame to see if we have any inversions to target, right? We only had a 1 minute being as the highest time frame inversion, right? So what I was looking for pretty much is for this inversion to play at least just at the very internal low. Like that's literally all I was looking for. I wasn't looking for anything big or crazy or anything like that, because we were already in this daily fair value gap. We also made the SMT with a 5-minute, right? So this was looking very, very good just for at least this internal low, right? I wasn't looking for anything lower, although I did target this 4-hour as my final TP, right? But I took most of my position down over here because I knew that we're probably gonna respect this daily fair value gap, right? So once price ends up tapping this 5-minute, right, we ended up inversing this 1-minute, right? So I enter on this 1 minute, stops at the swing high, and pretty much just targeting this swing low, and final TP is the 4-hour, but obviously it didn't hit. So I took literally most of my, like I ended up partialing over here first as this low got taken, and then I ended up partialing again for the rest of my position down over here. This was on my Apex account. It was a funded account, so it was like a $510 trade, I believe. Yeah, it was a $510 trade. Yeah, that was a quick, simple, scalp, you could say, right? It wasn't really looking for anything too crazy because, yes, although we were temporarily bearish, right, for all of this movement that happened, right, we also left the data high at the top over here, which I'm expecting for price to get, and this big 1-hour fair value gap, right? So I was expecting prices to come up higher, right? So what happens right after, literally right after that, right? So I took the trade on the Apex. I was done on that account, literally automatically closed it. Didn't want to risk anything anymore, right? Once price swept this internal low, right? So we have this little liquidity sweep, right? Now we developed a 50-minute above, right? We made a 50-minute above, and then we had an hourly above also, right? So now I was looking for an inversion to the upside, right? Because now we are, as you can see on my checklist, right, we were in a high time frame sweep, right? We swept this internal low, and then we swept all of these major lows right here, right? And ES also swept them, right? So now we had a high time frame sweep, and we had a high time frame fair value gap tap, which is this daily fair value gap, right? So now we had our unfilled target being as 15-minute, right? And the highest time frame inversion was this 3-minute, right? So time was aligning. It was literally at 10 a.m. open, right? The news ended up dropping, sending us lower, manipulating to this low, right? Although the data low over here was kind of sus, but I was pretty confident in my drawn liquidity being the 15-minute, right? So once the 3-minute ends up inversing, right, I entered the long, right? Kind of had my stop a little tighter because I entered like 15 cons on micros on my top step, right? It was a little like heavy risk because I initially thought that the trade would go all the way up over here in the 1-hour, right? But since I entered on the 15, right, on that eval account, it was already set up to 1500 on this level over here. So I was just kind of fine taking out the full position at this 15-minute, right? So as you guys could see, we ended up coming higher, right? We entered over here, and then price kind of ends up going lower, tapping that 3-minute inversion, coming up higher again, leaving off this equal high, and then coming up down lower again, just playing around a little bit at this 3-minute, and then eventually we ended up sending us higher, tapping that 15-minute, right? So now if I was sized down a little lower, let's say if I was on a 5 cons or 10 cons, right, I would have definitely targeted this high, right, the 1 hour. But I took off majority of my position over here because this was already $1,500 on the day, and I was pretty much satisfied with that. And as you guys could see, the final TP would be this 1 hour, right? Because also we had a 5-minute over here, right? The 5-minute ended up getting inversed, and then the 1 hour was just free drawn liquidity, right? So that ended up hitting, right? And looking at the trade now, we developed this 1 hour, right? And we're in the equilibrium of this range, right? So we either might react off of a go a little lower, tap the 1 hour and go back up higher, right? But if I was to enter a very, very small position, right, this 1 hour would be my target, and then this data high would for sure be my target, right? Because again, like I said in the previous video, data highs, data lows, just easy draws on liquidity, right? And yeah, that was it for today. These are the only 2 trades that I took. I just felt like it was very informative just to kind of go over the concepts that we're starting to learn slowly, right? And again, incorporating news, right? So we had news at 10 a.m., right? Yes, I targeted I took this trade before the news, right? I didn't necessarily take the trade after the news, which is also why I exited the trade early, because I knew that the news were about to drop. So I literally exited at 9:58 or 9:57, because in 3 minutes the news was gonna drop, and I was literally gonna get stopped out. So I exited before the news happened, right, on the short, and then as the news manipulated lower and inverse is 3-minute, now this was a very bullish sign. So at the very least, go to the 15-minute, right? So yeah, that's about it. That's the 2 trades that I took, right? And the thing that I was pretty much going over earlier is just pretty much the daily buys and the drawn liquidity, right? Those are the 2 videos that I haven't went over yet, because those are kind of a little advanced, and you kind of need to know a lot more concepts in order to get into those. So be on the lookout for those 2 videos, because those 2 videos is probably like one of the only technical sides of trading where a lot of people struggle, including me, just to kind of determine your daily buys. Like, what do you think the daily candle is going to be going to, and same with drawn liquidity. Like, what do you think momentarily, like at this specific moment in time, where is the candles going to, right? So those are the 2 videos that I'm going to be working on later. And yeah, if you guys have any questions on any, for example, these 2 trades that I took, or if you guys don't get anything, please comment down below, like this video, and I will see you guys in the next video.